Hi everyone, this is Artemis with SirLinksalot, and today we're going to be talking about guest posts. Now, guest posts are an extremely popular and powerful type of backlink, and they're probably the most used type of backlink by SEOs to increase rankings. We'll be covering a lot of things in this video, starting with some very basic things, so be sure to use the timestamps at the bottom of this video if you'd like to skip around to something specific. We'll be covering what guest posts are, how to use them, how to get them yourself, what makes our guest posts so special, as well as, of course, how to place an order if that's something that you're interested in. All right, let's go. So what are guest posts? Guest post backlinks are links within new articles related to your niche, posted on other people's websites. Essentially, you are a guest posting content on their site with a backlink to your own site in it. Here we have an example of a guest post that we built recently, and you can probably tell by these metrics that getting a link from this site would be great for your SEO. It's got authority and traffic, it's ranking for keywords, and most importantly, it's a real site that posts content related to your niche. Now I'm going to show you what a guest post backlink would look like in the real world. First of all, this isn't a site that we build guest posts on, it's just a random site that I found on Google for demonstration purposes for this video. So let's pretend that you have a site about, say, coffee. For a guest post backlink to your site, you will find a website link like this and post coffee related content and convince them to post a new article with the backlink to your website. You can see here that we are on an inner page URL now as opposed to the home page, and this is where articles usually exist on websites. Guest post links are contextual, meaning that it's in a paragraph of information related to your topic, which gives a link additional context for Google to understand. Getting relevant links to your website in articles like this is an extremely powerful tool for your rankings, as it passes the site's link juice or their trust authority and relevance to your own site. And Google loves it. Coming back to our product page here, you can see that guest post links are white hat. Guest posts are widely considered white hat backlinks as they come from real websites and are safe to use. Paying for any type of backlink is technically a violation of Google's TOS, but this is widely overlooked by most due to their widespread use and safety when following link building best practices. Scrolling back up here, we can go ahead and compare guest posts to other types of backlinks. Guest posts are one of the two main types of links that SEOs use to boost their rankings. The other is niche edits. The rest of links here are essentially different types of pillow links, aside from the PBN links, of course, and the biggest comparison to make here is between guest posts and niche edits. Now, niche edits are links edited inside of existing articles, while guest post links are put into brand new articles. Now, guest posts tend to be slightly more expensive than niche edits because of this, and there are some major benefits that come with this slightly higher price. For one, you'll be the only client linked to from a guest post article. Websites that allow niche edits, on the other hand, will often allow more than one client link to be placed within these articles. And secondly, in most cases, you can dictate exactly what you want the article to be about, meaning that you can really get hyper-relevant backlinks from it. So even though your guest post article is starting fresh compared to niche edit articles, which have already been established and have a presence with Google already, there are definitely some major pluses for guest posts, and it's easy to understand why they're the most used type of backlink on the market. So next up, we're going to talk about how to use guest posts. Due to their safety, guest posts can really be used at any point in the link building process, even for fresh sites. However, where you put them and the anchor text that you might use might change a little bit. Where you point guest post links is really up to you and what your site needs at that given point in time. It can make sense to link to your homepage as well as any inner pages that you feel might need a boost. For newer sites, you'll probably want to stick with linking to your homepage for a while until the site begins to add more keywords and traffic. The anchor text that you use will also vary, and this can either look very natural, meaning branded URL and generic anchors, or it can be more targeted, but again, for newer sites, you'll want to stick with more natural stuff. For more information on linking to your homepage for center pages and what type of anchor text to use and when, check out our YouTube channel and our blog for more information. But when in doubt, it's always better to be conservative rather than aggressive, meaning more links to your homepage and more branded URLs and generic anchors. And of course, always make sure to be following link building best practices such as anchor diversity and link diversity. So now, how to get guest posts. In order to get guest post links, you can either buy them from a trusted provider or go out and get them yourself. Now, getting them yourself involves the following steps. First, you want to find a suitable site that you'd like to get your content posted on. You can do this by manually searching for blogs related to your niche on Google, or through using some kind of automated tool that can do this for you. Then you'll want to compile a list of appropriate domains that you found along with email addresses so that you can contact each webmaster. Some things to keep an eye on when selecting these domains are relevance, authority, traffic, and overall site health, which can be checked using a tool like Ahrefs. Next, you'll need to reach out to each webmaster with a pitch for writing an article to be posted onto their site. Some things you might need to include in your pitch could be reasons why your article would benefit their readers, examples of articles that you've written for other sites before, and of course, money. Note that it's pretty rare for webmasters to agree to post content onto their website without some kind of proof of benefit for themselves, and that non-spammy and personalized emails can get a lot more attention. For more info on this, we have an entire article on outreach that you can find on our blog. But as you can probably tell by now, the process for guest post outreach is extremely time consuming and it has a pretty low success rate. This is why most SEOs will either build an entire team around this process or hire the help of a trusted provider such as ourselves. Now I'll be going over our guest posts and how to place an order. Here you can see that there are contextual links placed on quality relevant blogs. Contextual, of course, meaning that links are contained in paragraphs of information like I showed you before, and relevant blogs meaning that the blogs post content that is related to your niche. Here you can see that we extensively check the sites for quality, so you can choose between our standard and premium tiers to get exactly what you want. We'll actually be going over this in just a minute, so hang tight. But just so you know, we do use real blogger sites, no PBNs, and you will receive articles on real sites with no authored bios or sponsored posts. Of course, PBNs are not real websites, and that's the biggest difference between PBNs and guest posts. What I mean when I say no author bios is that there's nothing on the site that says that the article was written by you. It will appear that it was written by the author of the actual blog, and of course, it doesn't say anywhere on the post that the post is sponsored. Here you can see that we provide quality content from native speakers to create guest posts that you can be proud of to show your clients. Of course, we would use a higher tier of writer for this kind of thing, and it's not the same as the bottom of the barrel type of writer that you can find on Fiverr or something like that. So scrolling here, we'll get to our actual process. So firstly, you can choose your options and you can choose between our standard and premium plans, which again, we'll be going through in more detail a little bit later on. And of course, when you're placing your order, you'll be giving us some information like target URLs, anchor text, and all that fun stuff. Next, we'll go ahead and we have articles written, and then we will reach out to websites and negotiate deals with them to have the content with backlinks to your website placed on their websites. As you can see right here, the turnaround time usually takes around 3 weeks or less, and after that we go ahead and send you a full report, and of course that report will have all the information on it like the actual URL of your articles for you to inspect, your anchor text, and all that fun stuff. But before we get to the pricing table, here on this drop-down menu, you can tell the difference between our standard and premium tiers. So here's just a list of all the things that you can find on both our premium and standard tiers. This includes some things like TF and CF, Bear Score minimum of 5, 100 or more referring domains minimum. We check for site appearance, no prior PBN use. It has to be indexed, of course, and no sponsored posts or write for us blogs. The next thing here are checks that only the premium tier guest posts are checked for. And these are things like 1,000 or more traffic, traffic history, traffic location, history of the website, SSL certificates, squeaky clean backlink profiles, social media activity, and more. Now, something very important to note here is that if the domain fails even just one of these checks, it's bumped down to the standard tier. So the most common thing that people ask about here is this one, the 1,000 plus traffic. Oftentimes you will find sites with 1,000 more traffic in our standard tier, and it's because they failed one of these other checks, and that's why they're in that tier. So after you've gone over our premium and standard options and you've decided which one you'd like to purchase, go ahead and click the Order Now button to be taken to an order form. Now, once you click the Order Now button, you'll be taken to a form which will look something like this. And as always, please be sure to read everything here at the top, as it can have some very important things that you need to know. For example, here it tells you that you get a 500-word article for free, and that we need all this information for every link that you order from us. Scrolling down, the first thing that we need is your first name, your last name, and your email address. If you don't have an account with us already, this will create one automatically for you. And if you do already have an account, you can click here to sign in, or it will be populated for you. Next, we have our options here for you to choose from. So let's say you wanted one of these, and then say we want maybe 2 of these. And down here, we want 6 of these. Sure. So the point is that you can choose your options here and what kind of guest posts that you would like. Next up, you can choose your article upgrades if you'd like to increase your article length. Remember, you get 500 words for free, but anything after that will need an upgrade for. And next here, you have your target URLs, your anchor text, your preferred article topics, and your niche. So please give us all of these 4 things for each thing that you order. Now, if you have a large order, you can upload a spreadsheet here just because that's easier to organize than copy and pasting everything. Next, we have a place where you can upload a list of guest post domains that you already have posts on if you want us to avoid them. Now, we do check for this kind of thing ourselves, but if you'd like to give us your own list, that always helps. And lastly, if you want us to use your own article as opposed to having us write one for you, you can upload that article here for us to use. And then if there's anything else we need to know, you can go ahead and put that here. So when you've got everything filled out and ready to order, you can go ahead and click the complete purchase button and it'll take you to the payment options. Like I mentioned before, it'll take about 3 weeks or less for your guest posts to be complete, and when they are, we will send you a full report. If you scroll down here to our FAQ, you can click and see a sample report, so your report will look something like this. Of course, your report will actually be filled out fully. We just don't want to disclose any guest post sites we work with prior to links being placed on them, which is why this report is not filled out. However, if you had actually placed an order and this was your report, you would have the exact links to URLs for each article that we've written for you. This way, you'd actually be able to inspect all of the websites yourself. Here, you can find things like the target URL that it's pointing to on your website, the anchor text that was used, and the word count of the article. Alright guys, so that's about it for guest posts. We covered a bunch of stuff in this video, from what they are to how to use them and how to get them, and hopefully this video has been helpful. If you're thinking about placing an order, or if you have any questions, feel free to send us an email anytime at info@SirLinksalot.co, or you can always just shoot us a message on Facebook. Also, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. It really helps us out a lot. And also subscribe to our mailing list on our website, as well as joining our Facebook group, the SEO Roundtable. Here you can get VIP access to flash sales and updates, as well as take part in our SEO discussion and our learning community. Thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you next time.